everybody. Oh, it's being a day. In this healing process, I find myself in a lot of moments of contemplation. I want to talk about I want to talk about being ourselves. I want to talk about not just creative self-expression, but just self-expression at all. And this idea of being messy. And I think not even just being willing to be messy, but intentionally setting out to see how messy can we be. And so, almost 3 weeks ago, I managed to just really officially dislodge an agreement that's been really holding me in, which is that it's not okay to be me. And I could go on and talk about agreements to great length, but the gist of it is it's a limiting belief, it's a core belief, it's an energetic that's wired into our being and starts to dictate our patterns, our behaviors, the lenses through which we perceive the world, as well as our experiences and other people, right? And so this, it's not okay to be me, has really blocked me on so many levels in my life and kept me from really taking action in some ways. In other ways, I've managed to do some pretty cool stuff, right? Okay, and so it's been a long journey of wanting to express, a desire to express, and then keep coming up against a wall and coming up against a wall. And so this gift of finally breaking loose the grout of this agreement of that it's not okay to be me has really been allowing me to more consciously step back into my creative self-expression. I mean, I used to be able to sing Queen and Heart, and I've had moments of singing Joni where it was just, when I was younger, it all just happened. There was no sense of like, oh, I'm getting ready to go big. I just, I could do the aria to Bohemian Rhapsody, right? And so as I'm noticing that I have more of a willingness to just kind of go for it, I'm still in my way a little bit. There's still like, okay, I'm going for it. Let's see what happens, right? Versus I'm just going to go for it. And it shows up in my guitar playing as well. I'm very like, I'm holding still or I'm stiff, and I'm not, my body is not in my music. It's not in my singing. It's not being in my guitar playing. And so one of the recent gifts has been discovering this guitar player, Nuno Betancourt, who just strikes me as an amazing human being on top of any other gifts. And, watching him play, his whole body is into it. He just, I hear guitar players use the word like just gets in it, right? And he even talks about the importance of like, we've got to move our bodies in our music if we're going to really put ourselves into our music. And that really resonated with me. And so I was goofing around today with, all right, I'm not worried about how I'm playing guitar. I'm not too worried about playing it accurately. I'm just going to experiment with what happens if I just, channel my inner Nuno Betancourt or Nancy Wilson or Melissa Etheridge or just, some other human being playing guitar and playing with that to figure out what's my expression, right? I think it was there a long time ago. But I've got a good 45 years worth of blocks in the way that I've been trying to dance around. And I think that I lost my train of thought. Apologies. That part of what holds us back in life, if it's in our relationships, in our jobs, in our friendships, in our parenting, in our creativity, and in just how we approach our lives, comes from this huge place of fear of making a mistake or being judged or being criticized. And this is part of the dream of the planet, especially in the United States. I think Western culture can fall into it in general. And that the secret to getting free to just be you, and if you don't feel any blocks to like just being you, I celebrate you and I'm super excited. And the invitation, I'd love to hear, like, do you ever play with just getting messy? And what's your experience with that? And if you feel blocked in places, if you're afraid to use your voice in your relationship, if you are second guessing yourself in your parenting, um, I did. And if you are being tentative in your creativity, be that music, be that art, be that dance, right? There's a part of you that's just holding back. If there's a part of you that's second guessing, and that the invitation is to just be willing to be messy, because the magic is in the messiness. The learning and the wisdom is in the messiness. Because a lot of times we're holding back from setting a boundary. We're holding back from just channeling our inner Ann Wilson, right? Our inner Jimmy Page, or, okay, I won't keep bringing him up. Our inner Chris Cornell, right? Is, what are people going to think? Or what if I what if I miss a note? What if it sounds bad? So what? If it's going to make you feel good just to do it, just do it, and be willing to be messy. And, one of they might be the grandfathers of jam, the idea of a jam band, is the Grateful Dead. And they really went on from like scratching out some blues music to creating some very complicated, very intricate, very sonically psychedelic music. And as a former Deadhead myself, and as a classically trained musician and understander and appreciator of theory and rhythm and timing and keys and modes, that they played some amazing improvisational music in their live shows. And they got to that place because they were willing to make a mistake. They were willing to just push the envelope until the envelope broke. And they're like, okay, yay, all right, okay, we'll see what we can do with that next time. All right? And so, while the Grateful Dead were not and this is super important, I think, they were not the biggest commercially successful band in history. I couldn't tell you who that is. I know Nirvana did pretty good. U2 did pretty good. Black Crowes. But they developed a very large and very loyal following. And it was because people felt connected to the energy of their music. They felt connected to their willingness to just be themselves, to just explore, to be messy, and let the magic happen. Brene Brown, in her book, The Gifts of Imperfection, 10 Guideposts to Wholehearted Living, she talks about the importance of creativity and play. And she said, I used to think that I wasn't a creative person. And the truth is, we are all creative beings. It's just a question of whether we allow ourselves to or not. And that's the place of willingness, right? That's a place of allowing. And whether that's, an adult coloring book or a Hello Kitty coloring book, right? Whether that's singing in the shower just for the sake of singing and exploring, right? But this willingness to be messy with life can be one of the most liberating gifts that you can give yourself. And so there's the operative, the switch there is a willingness. And of course, on the heels of that is courage and vulnerability. But you can play with this muscle. Play with it when there's nobody around. It's our willingness to get messy that allows us the grace to make mistakes. Now, the other people in your life are going to have a big influence on what this experience is like. And I promise you that this can be one of the most liberating things that you can give yourself. I think that more and more, we get a lot of examples of people who have kind of figured it all out for themselves, whether that's in music or coaching or running a business, right? Our examples that we get a lot of exposure to kind of sets this bar that's a little high, both from where they're at in their journey, be it music or business or life, but also it may just be part of who they are, and that's not you. Are there elements, are there aspects of it? Sure, absolutely. And so my invitation to you is, if there is a place in your life or places where you hit a wall, right, where there's an impulse to express, be it a boundary, be it an ask, be it music or dance or art, that you go, oh, and then you pull back. See if you can't pretend that you're 5 and you don't care, or maybe it's 3, and just go be messy on purpose. All right. So rather than go, oh, I'm going to practice guitar today, or I'm going to do a live video today, and okay, I'm going to try that thing that Cheryl suggested. The invitation is to go create some space to just go be messy, right? Go make a video where you're like, I'm just going to be all over the place. And, go sing a song in the shower or in the car and just go, I'm just going to see how big I can be, right? Or dancing, I'm going to see what happens if I just quit paying attention to what my body's doing, right? And the invitation is to observe with curiosity and witness. You're not trying to fix anything or change anything and not judge anything, right? Almost like a third person watching the movie, and just notice what's happening in your awareness. This is the very essence of creative self-expression. And I believe that creative self-expression is at the very essence of what makes us human. I think, we have our emotions, and then the ability to express our emotions. We have a need and our ability to express our needs. We have joy and our ability to express it and bring it out into the world, onto the physical plane. We have love, we have hurt, bringing it out into the physical plane. Whether that's verbally, which, okay, that's airways, that's physics, so yes. So whether it's verbally, whether it's sonically, whether it's, through dance, through movement, whether it's through, pen and paper, or oil and canvas, just go explore and be you and be messy. Because that's the gift for me in this past week, is a newfound willingness to be messy. Hi, Cheryl here. I'm really excited that you found my channel, and I'm grateful that you watched the video all the way to the end. What that tells me is that you are spiritually oriented, or at least curious, and there's something about this idea of being messy that speaks to you. And if you would like to go deeper into it, I have a longer version of this video on my Patreon platform. I go into some examples around what being messy would look like in relationships and with their children, as well as how to take this practice and go a little bit deeper to start rewiring your energy system to bring in that willingness to just be you. And so you can find me on patreon.com/Cheryl Kane. And there's a free 7-day trial, and it's just $4 a month for membership. And your patronage goes towards creating more spaciousness for me to create more content such as you've watched today. I hope you'll join me over there. And if it's not time for you yet, I get it. And I invite you to hit subscribe and hit the little bell to get notified. And let's stay connected. All right. Be well, and may you follow the calling of your heart. Bye now.